we were just backstage talking, and then we saw that Josh from Already Overbooked was waiting for us, so we figured we had to rush in and start because we don't want to anger Josh. He's just too awesome. But anyway, talking about awesome people, and no, it's not Roe, but I am talking about our
Aw.
guest. John Douglas, how are you, sir? And how is the city of the Orcs?
It's burned down, but it was a piece of shit before that anyway. So
Urban renewal.
Orc City's only got one engineer, and he's not very bright.
Starting strong.
How are you guys doing? It's been a minute.
I was telling Roe you were on, I think, January of last year, so it's been almost 2 years.
Oh my gracious! I didn't realize it's been that long. Where does the time go? Right?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
I mean, fortunately, I don't age, so it doesn't matter to me. My knees argue at that point, every morning, but details.
I'll tell you what, I can't wait for my new knees.
Yeah, not to turn this to an old fuddy-duddy kind of thing, but I've got a bit more of a bum hip than I used to. I ain't gonna lie. I actually last year I went under my house to change out all my sewer pipes, and every day my left hip was killing me, and I'm like, man, this left hip's always just kind of felt like it's just not quite there. I don't know what it is, so I went to an orthopedist and says, "Is this something I should be concerned about?" And he says, "Yes. You are on a rocket ship for a hip replacement. It's not a question of if, it's a matter of when." And I'm like, Well, but guys, I worked for 13 years in construction, right? I've been working on my feet since I was like 14 years old. My dad he's a sheetrock hanger. I worked on his crew when I was homeschooled. I worked in industrial manufacturing. I worked in electrical construction. Then I went and I worked in nursing. I'm still on my feet a lot in nursing. And to hear that at 44 years old that my hip is looking like it probably won't make it to 50.
Wow.
I feel like I've kind of earned that a little bit. I've definitely earned the wear and tear that's going on with it. And believe it or not, I'm actually kind of grateful it's the hip and not the knees or the back, because man, I have known some older guys that when their knees and their back goes out, oh, it is rough. It's darn near crippling to some guys.
Well, if your hip's messed up, though, your hips will start impacting your knees and your back. So
yeah,
get that new one as quick as you can.
I already get people that that say, "Why are you walking with a limp?" And I'm like, I'm trying not to walk with a limp. I don't even realize I'm walking with a limp. Apparently, I am.
Tell them you're doing research.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it is. Good to see Josh from Already Overbooked there, man. Oh, what a dude. I'm glad, even though my channel went a little bit kaput earlier this year, not to get into that too much, that a lot of other booktubers have popped up and become, a place indie authors can go to talk about their work. And you guys too, is very much appreciated. I know that we've got so many indie authors, but we only have, a finite number of platforms and channels for people to talk to. I've been a big advocate of that for a long time of indie authors. You get up there, make your platform somewhere, whether it's on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. In these days for me, I'm kind of on Twitter a whole lot, but the problem with social media is it is a castle built on shifting sands, and the sands have very much been shifting a lot. Twitter used to be a very, very viable platform for indie authors as far as sales go. And that has been changing a lot as of this year. It's a lot less viable. But I seem to have a bit of a magic bullet when it comes to mine, because you guys will see me pop off every now and then, and a lot of the internet will end up talking about whatever I'm talking about.
Yes, you have that tendency, John. I want to get into that because I was late to the party with the whole Orc City and the mayor of Orc City thing. Tell us about this, because I was trying to tell Ro, who knows nothing about it, and I'm like, yeah, I only know bits and pieces.
Okay, so this happened a day or two before the 4th of July. It was just Daniel Kuba. Hey, good. Hey, man, good to see you. It was just before Corey Ratliff too. It was just before the 4th of July this year. I was you got to understand, the thing about my Twitter account is it's shower thoughts, right? Like, I'm not one of these high engagement accounts that pours over and schedules a bunch of engagement bait and rage bait. Guys, I swear to you, upon the Almighty himself, I don't try to make people mad at me. They just are. I just have this tendency to push the right button. No, I've been to New York City. York City smells better. So what happened was usually it's shower thoughts. It's something I think off the top of my head, and I just put it on Twitter. And I was mocking the naming conventions. You guys know who Hideo Kojima is?
Nope.
He's the gaming director that's created a lot of really popular gaming titles back in the day. Like he created the Metal Gear Solid series. If you've ever heard of that.
Like that means something.
I've heard of it.
I have not.
And his most recent games are Death Stranding. Now, and full disclosure, I don't despise the guy, but he is a bit pretentious. He wants to do stuff that's super serious, but also kind of goofy and lighthearted at the same time. And the bosses in the Metal Gear Solid series have really funky naming conventions. I mean, across all his games, he's got one character named Die Hard Man in Death Stranding because he's difficult to kill. Okay. In Metal Gear Solid 3, he created a guy who shoots bees at you. So I was making fun of, I was kind of mocking one of his characters. In Metal Gear Solid 2, there's a boss. It's just so out of nowhere, goofy and impossible to take seriously. His name is Fat Man. And he's a big fat dude wearing a bomb disposal suit, riding around, doing cartwheels on rollerblades. I'm not kidding. Sipping wine out of a champagne glass with a big straw. And it's like visually, just aesthetically, from every point, it's just a ridiculous concept. Even though he disposes bombs, fat man, little boy, the A-bomb, that kind of connection. It makes sense, but it's still silly to hear. And that's what I put out there. And the thing about Hideo Kojima is he's got a cult. His followers, it is a cult of personality around that guy. He can do no wrong. And so I started getting attacked, which happens with a lot of my posts sometimes. And a lot of times I just kind of blow past it. One of these guys had a big follower count. Yes, Vamp. The guy who, here's the thing about Vamp. Vamp is this dude who is nigh immortal. He is pale. He has fangs. He can walk on water. He drinks people's blood. But Hideo Kojima says he's not called Vamp because he's a vampire. It's because he's bisexual. And I read that in an interview. I'm like, what are you on, dude? Like, really? I've never heard that terminology used for someone who was of the bisexual persuasion before. It was just ridiculous on the face of it. Guy, just call him a vampire. So anyway, yeah, Vamp was ridiculous. I started getting notifications. A lot of them I blow through. Somebody went and posted the opening passages of my book. And the opening line of The Black Crown is the Orc City burned. The Orc City smoldered, burned down in the wake of whatever. I don't know the opening. I don't know it by heart. But it got put out there, said, this is this guy's writing. And so when I was going to this, I was ignoring this on Friday, the 4th of July, because I was with my family and I was doing stuff and, occasionally blocking trolls. I wake up and I go to work on Saturday morning and I'm still getting these Orc City messages. I've talked about this on other podcasts before. I was on Shadowversity's Night's Watch channel talking about this a little while ago.
This is a safe place. Go ahead, get it out.
It's funny though. I will admit, when I got up on Saturday, I went to work my usual 16-hour weekend shift, and I was still getting messages about Orc City this, Orc City that, and I'm like, this is really man, I'm still getting messages about this. Good Lord, how far did this actually go?
Did your sales go up?
I'm gonna get to that. Hold on.
Okay.
I looked and I started doing a little digging, seeing the high follower accounts that posted this, the really big shit posting accounts on Twitter posted this and reshared it. And so by all of that week, by Saturday morning, all of Twitter was mocking my book, right? And for a second, I had a little heart attack, and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, my book is the laughing stock of Twitter. I'm the main character this weekend. And then I looked and I started seeing the memes. And then I looked and I saw that it was actually an entry on knowyourmeme.com. and I was like, there's like, once I realized it had achieved meme status, it was like it was like a light went off. I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing that could ever happen. Because I've been around meme culture for a long time. Memes are purely organic, sometimes mocking, but the thing you have to remember is that you can't fight the internet. I could have gone protected on my account. I could have tried to ignore it. That would have just made it worse. I damn sure couldn't throw a fit, because that would make it even worse than anything. So what I ended up doing was I realized there was no other option except to lean into the meme and own it. So that's what I did. And I started finding every meme for Orc City and putting it out there. And at first, the trolls were trying to go, no, you can't do that. We're laughing at you. You can't laugh with us. That died out real quick. By Sunday night, I was the mayor of Orc City. I was in charge of all of it. I was posting it more than anybody. And you ask about sales. This was the best sales week I ever had. I sold hundreds of books. I had 10,000 Kindle Unlimited page reads inside of a week.
Nice.
It was insane. And so self-imposed mayor. I decided it's just my thing, because the thing about memes, you have to understand, in meme culture is memes are internet immortality, essentially. I had plans to do a second edition of the Black Crown, just change a couple things here and there before the release of my second book. And I am going to change some of the prologue, because from friend and foe alike, the prologue has been consistently the most critiqued part of the book. And I kind of want to fix that.
Yep.
But I cannot change anything about the opening passages that got memed, because that's the meme. It has to remain immortalized forever. You know, and a lot of people, a lot of indie authors, kind of feel like, they wouldn't want that kind of negative attention, because they don't want to be the subject of mockery. Most of us want to be the subject of admiration. I love your book, and your writing is great, that kind of thing. But, I even wrote about this in the Black Crown. My character Mora has a line where she tells another character named Cortland, says, "You do not get to pick your legacy." It was very meta in a weird way. So I leaned into it. I had to become the meme, and ultimately, that's kind of where I am now. It's not something that I was leaning on for, great future success, but it's the only way to kind of beat back against, that kind of internet negative attention. And I hope other indie authors who watch this go down maybe took a lesson. Like, if somebody memes your book, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Tens of thousands and people have read the opening lines of my book. How many of us in the indie spaces put the emphasis on a really great opening line? All authors do it, right? Even though in truth, most of my favorite books, I couldn't tell you the opening line. One of my favorite books is Jurassic Park. I don't even know what the opening line for that is. Yeah, that was one of the very first memes that popped up right there. And the thing is, I won a lot of fans for leaning into it and being a good sport about it. And so it's been going that way ever since. It almost popped in again not that long ago. Somebody was trying to bring it back. And every now and then on Twitter, I'll still get somebody who pops up and is like, "Oh my God, you're the Orc City guy." I laugh. And, I put the link for my book out there. The only negative aspect to it that's come about has been the people, and this was happening to me before Orc City, is that they went to Goodreads and they destroyed it in the ratings, right? I know there's a lot said about review bombing. I literally did get review bombed. If you go look at most of the 1-star reviews for my book on Goodreads, you can tell they're not there because they're only there because of the meme or because they got into an online argument with me over Twitter, and that's their attack vector. And Goodreads does not give the single faintest shit about it. I've tried to report them sometimes, especially ones who are like leaving really egregiously nasty messages, and they don't do nothing about it. The only reason I don't even just nuke my Goodreads account completely is because if I did that and they realized it wasn't on Goodreads, they'd go do it on the Amazon page. And thankfully, they haven't caught on to that yet. They didn't really go to the Amazon pages, because if they nuked that, I'd be way off worse than, on Goodreads. Yeah. I agree with Daniel. This is why I don't look at reviews anymore. Yeah, I kind of couldn't. I did have to scan some because some were left that like kind of were over the line in terms of in terms of like personal attack stuff. But again, Goodreads does not care.
Oh, Goodreads is part of Amazon, right?
Yeah. But there's not a lot of crossover there between the Goodreads and the Amazon. And Goodreads is such an afterthought too. It's really the Reddit of book review sites, because they're the only people that are going there, and they've gotten in way worse trouble. There were indie authors that were caught using bot accounts to boost their own books, as well as downvote other books in that same category to try and drive theirs up in the algorithm a little bit.
Where the hell were these people when we were trying to get to 500, Mike?
Right?
Last year.
I know.
All these people say, "Oh, I'll get a bot farm on you." It's like, where was it?
I know. No tattoo for you all because you didn't do it.
Jesus.
It is what it is. It's and there's some other places that try and take off, but it's going to take building up something to compete with the big boys on the internet is always going to take a lot of time, and kind of an organic movement over to that. What do you say? Yeah, Goodreads doesn't get changed at all. Amazon sometimes will change a review if it isn't verified. And I've never seen them change it verified or not. Like they really just don't care. They tell you not to interact with your negative reviews, right, which has gotten some indie authors in trouble before. I don't know if you guys remember the drama that popped off a little earlier in the summer with Charlotte Goodwin, who complained about her 3-star review.
Yeah.
And I that made me kind of take a step back. Very recently, I read Shadiversity's book, Shadow of the Conqueror, and that got a lot of hate in the booktube circles. But upon investigation, I kind of found that a lot of the people leaving negative reviews for Shad's book weren't doing it because they wanted to read the book. They were doing it because they wanted the algorithmic bump they would get for reviewing his book and getting his channel mentioned on their channel. And at some point, it just kind of became fashionable and trendy to shit on his book, which I found was fine. It was a fine book. It was actually pretty decent. Not perfect by any means, but it was certainly overhated in a lot of circles. What'd you say?
I'm trying to think of the word that I just lost. Never mind.
But the thing is, between the thing with Shad and the thing with Charlotte, like I was one of the few people that I kind of come to this realization with a lot of the book and reading and writing circles that are online, and that there's a lot of invisible, unspoken rules that they do not tell you about. And I kind of resent these rules because you're expected to follow them, but no one comes up and hands you a brochure and tells you, hey, you're not supposed to do this or this or this. And if you break that rule, they all dogpile on you at once. That's what happened to Charlotte. And I'm like, well, who told Charlotte she couldn't say anything about her reviews, right? It's kind of silly to me that we have these unspoken rules that you are and are not supposed to do in terms of professionalism. But like, who wrote those rules? Why are we enforcing them? And it's just ridiculous to me. there's a word I'm looking for, a phrase, but I can't think of it off the top of my
It
head.
generally just doesn't pay to go after that because there's no winning that argument, right?
Yeah,
And
in a lot of ways, yeah.
it's, in public relations, that's the thing. If somebody's there, you can let it go and it will go away, right? It'll wash out in the cycle, or you can keep after it and give it legs. Now, if you want the notoriety, if you want to quote unquote build your brand or whatever, and you don't mind that it's all coming from negative press, then yeah, by all means, go in there and start yelling at the people who are giving you bad reviews. But I don't know, man. It's that, I hope you have a really good relationship with your editor because it's going to be tough to get another one.
Well, think about this. Like, I had some reviews that told me that were blatantly lying and putting out there that things like my book didn't have an editor. It actually had two. My book was written by AI. It was not written by AI. I mean, it was written.
Well, yeah,
it was
grammatical errors. That should give you a clue that it wasn't AI because it may not write well, but it'll write grammatically correct.
right. I mean, to me, I feel like if you can't call out an egregious lie, if you didn't like the book, you didn't like the book, that's fine.
Right.
I think every author, anyone in the creative spaces really needs to be aware that you're going to encounter people who just don't like your book, or some people who just don't like you and will use your creative process or your book as an attack vector to get to you. But if someone's putting out an objective lie and people are looking at that and thinking, oh, he wrote his book with AI, like those kind of that kind of perception really can end up sticking over time.
If it's an error in fact, if it's an objective error like that, then you have to at least go out there once and correct the record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but there are people who would say don't ever interact with your negative reviews, and that kind of falls back into the invisible rules argument that I discovered. Like, you're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that. Well, you really can do whatever you want. You really don't have to. You really don't have to follow anyone else's rules. I mean, you might risk a little alienation at the expense of in certain communities or online circles. But hey, Buddy Bomber, good to see you. But I mean, how much are they even helping you to begin with?
Yeah.
Some people just have to learn themselves that the rules are rules for a reason. They don't touch the stove. No, gotta touch it anyway. Some people just need to burn their hand once or twice before they get it. So
yeah, that's certainly true.
Darwinism is alive.
It depends on who you get, advice from as well. But go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
No, I was going to say the one thing that is my pet peeve about reviews, and I don't really focus on it because they'll come or they won't. I don't care. I sell my books at Comic-Cons, and no one looks up how many reviews does he have. So really, it doesn't matter that much. But the one thing that drives me nuts is when booktubers are like, a 3-star review is a great review. I'm like, no, it's a 5-star rating. That's average by definition, people. Come on. I don't care if you want to say this is an amazing book. I'm giving it 3 stars. That's average. And I'm like, just be honest. If it's a 3-star, fine. Say it's a 3-star. Say it was average. I liked it. I don't know that I'll read the rest of the series. Perfectly valid. But, it's all puffery now. So if you get a 4-star, you'd be like, oh, man, I only got a 4-star. And I'm like, that's just ridiculous. So
I'm just excited. I honestly think I see the number of reviews change. Like, whoo! I don't even care what it is.
Personally, I think the 4 stars are the best because I don't expect, perfection from my book. I mean, even when I do my reviews, when I was doing reviews on my channel, and to some extent now I'm still doing them on my Substack and for the website Fandom Pulse and Epic Indie. Like, I don't really give stars for my reviews because I may enjoy one book equally as much as another, but for very different reasons. Like, let me give an example here. Hold on. Here, let me help out two of my indie author brethren. This is Sledge versus the Labyrinth by Nick Horvath. This is an ultra violent book where it feels like an 80s action movie, right? This is the 7th Cadence by Jim Wilbur, one of the first indie authors I ever read. And this is like in the style of Brandon Sanderson, right? to me, these are both 5-star books, but these are not comparable to each other in terms of tone, consistency, writing, or anything, right?
Yeah.
So I love both of these books, but for different reasons. It's weird for me to say, I would give them both 5 stars, and then somebody reads one and then reads the other, likes one, doesn't like the other, wonders why I gave a 5-star to both. To me, I like to read books, and I like to put out, hey, this is what I liked, this is what I saw, this is what worked for me, here's what maybe didn't work for me, here's what could possibly be changed, because they still need that kind of a feedback to help improve in the future. And then I trusted my audience to at least be intelligent enough to hear what I was saying and determine if that book sounded like it was right for them. I mean, it just makes sense to me.
Yeah, I'm like you. I don't really read 5-star reviews because one, I'm like, okay, so the guy's popular, he has a lot of friends, or else they just gush and they just forget about, gloss over. So the 4 stars, the 3 stars, the 1 stars I read just more for comedy usually than anything else. I don't really take them seriously.
Yeah, a lot of them are just ass mad for no reason. They're doing a 1 star just to kind of tank the rating a little, and that feels vitriolic. I've never. There's only one book I can think of I've disliked enough to give 1 star, and that's Forrest Gump. I hate that book. It's the book I hate more than anything else. I can see you guys have read it just by your reaction.
I've seen the movie.
I will tell you, my mom was a voracious reader, and she's like, that is the one book that was worse than the movie.
That's what I always say. You want me to rant on this book and tell you why? Because it really is that bad.
All right, yeah, go.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, hold on a second. Hey, baby.
I hear rants are good for the algorithm, so please rant.
Right on. Yeah,
and we got the
Ameriworks City
bringing cupcakes. Look at this. I love my wife. Okay, so the problem with Forrest Gump, and I didn't even know it was a book, right? I used to read a lot from the library in the 2000s, and I found there was a book there. I'm like, oh, wow, I wonder what the difference between the book and the movie is, because what's the prevailing rule of thumb for a long time, right? The book is always better than the movie. Not so in this case, as I found. First of all, this book is written in first-person perspective, and it is written in Gump's thick, heavy Southern drawl. It gets real old real fast.
John, where are you from, by the way?
I am down here in Louisiana.
And you don't even get tired of the thick Southern drawl. Okay, go on.
Reading it the way it's written out just is so over-exaggerated. It makes his accent sound worse in your head.
Sorry, we're going to interrupt your rant. So is first-person perspective really bad?
I don't mind first-person perspective, but that plus the thick Southern drawl really hammered home. It really became a bad combination. I mean, my favorite book from last year, The Theft of Fire, was first-person perspective, and this fabulous. I know there's a sentiment that a lot of people don't like first-person perspective. I don't really get that.
Monsters, all of them.
It really doesn't bother me. It just did in this case, because you're basically reading Gump's thoughts through the whole book, and they're not great thoughts. And that goes back to the big problem with the Gump book versus the movie is the Gump in the book does not have a moral center. He does not come across as a well-meaning but slow individual. He comes across as a perverted moron. He's openly leers at Jenny throughout the thing, and she's worse in the book too. In the book, she is an unrepentant whore. Okay, just no shame, completely shameless. Gump basically just goes through life. It's almost like a travelogue at times, and it has so many moments that the movie touches on a lot of them, and some of them feel a little fantastic but still believable. In the book, like, there's just shit that is ridiculous out of nowhere. What do you do to ensure that what you like to read ends up as the style you write in? I mean, I don't try to emulate anybody. I just write the way I write. I write what I want to read in the way I want to read it. And I'm one of those authors that can come back and read my own work again. I read my book to my daughter earlier this year, and I was having just as much fun reading it. Yeah, no, it's true. So a lot of the book follows through very close, similarly to the book. The only thing that I would have liked to have seen in the movie, I think there's a deleted scene of it, kind of, when Gump goes to join the army. You have to understand, in the book, Gump is like Reacher sized. This guy is like 6.5 feet tall, purebred Southern boy, right? When he gets his finger check in the army, joining the army, he whirls around, punches the doctor, runs home naked, and watches his mother wrestle with the MPs while he's standing on his porch. That actually would have been funny to watch. But then you get done with after Vietnam, he ends up becoming a professional wrestler called the Dunce, and he wrestles a guy named the Turd. Jenny is his manager during this, mind you. God. And the ending is the worst. And I'm just going to spoil the ending because please don't read this book. The book ends with Gump, Lieutenant Dan, and an orangutan named Precious running a one-man band in New Orleans. Okay?
So 2 people and an orangutan run a one-man band. Okay.
Yeah. And then it's
Why
in these
not?
last pages of the book that Jenny brings up his son to meet him, and his indifference is so enraging. His reaction is literally, oh, okay. Yeah, it did read like a fever dream. I was so sickened when I got to read that book, and I'm like, how the movie was so much better. It gave him a moral center. It made him likable, but God bless Tom Hanks for that. Gosh, it was it's the worst book I think I've ever forced myself to finish. And I haven't hated a lot of books that I've read. I usually enjoy most of what I read. But my God, Gump was on another level. I couldn't believe this actually got published. But Spielberg was able to take the core of that and give it that old Spielberg touch to make it a wait, no, that wasn't Spielberg, was it? It was Robert Zemeckis, my bad. They were able to make a really decent movie out of that, even if it is like the highlights of the Boomer generation.
Have you ever read any of 50 Shades of Grey?
No. No, I knew I wouldn't read that.
Yeah, I was at a course where for like authors or whatever, and the guy gave us like the first page of like 8 different books. He's like, "So, who likes this?" And everyone hated that. And then he's like, "Well, that's 50 Shades of Grey. It sold 1 million copies." And we're like, "Of course it did."
No, I don't hate read stuff to see if it's as bad as I think it is. If it's not my interest, I'm usually not going to read. I did read Twilight, and I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was the worst thing I've ever read. It did make me laugh at a few points though. But that was not an entirely that was not a book that I hated. It really wasn't. The movies though, the movies are high comedy to me. The second movie, I laughed until I thought I wanted to throw up. They were so stupid. Yeah, I did hear that. And one more thing that we can blame Twilight for, or fan fiction for. Speaking
of in the house,
EL, hold on. I was trying to do my book. I was trying to do my my book haul earlier. My stuff didn't go out. EL sent me this. Thank you, sir. Very much appreciated.
The bad guy in that steals the show. That's all you need to read for is the antagonist.
Let's succeed. Yeah, I try not to, but it does seem kind of crazy in the literary spaces that a lot of people with some really eyebrow raising books tend to end up getting a lot of sales. I mean, we've seen that cringy monster romance book, the one about the Minotaur milking farm, go around on social media lately.
I missed that one.
You are in a whole different social media sphere than I am, man.
Oh, shit. So there's a monster romance book called Glory Morning Milking Farm, and it's about a girl who needs money. So she goes to this monster farm and has to milk a Minotaur in exactly the smutty way that you're thinking. And even though we were laughing at it, we probably got that more sales than imagined. It's got like 10,000 reviews.
Oof.
So ladies, you need to fix your literature game because
or we just need to start writing that.
So So John, before the show started, I was like, what do we got going on in Twitter? We can talk about latest controversy. And what did you tell me? You said,
Shoot,
well, I could go to Target and take a picture of the book section again.
That as big as Orc City went, Orc City is the most widely spread thing, imagine, but that was my biggest tweet ever. And I did that on a whim, just hilarious to see how insecure a lot of the girl readers are when you start poking fun at their what they read. 30 million views on that tweet.
Holy shit! What did you say?
Yeah, it was. They was trying to roast me alive. That was where most of the 1-stars that I get on my Goodreads. That's where the most of those came from. Is girly readers trying to use my book as an attack vector, which I didn't care. You know, they were never going to read my book, and that's one of my favorite insults they like to toss my way is, oh, well, this looks like something I would have read if I hadn't met you, and it's like, I've been hearing disingenuous lies my entire life. You ain't fooling me. Ice Planet. I have seen that one. I actually kind of I look around in the book talk and bookstagram circles. Most of it's romantasy, but I'm always kind of curious to see, what can I claim? What's the bleeding edge? What are readers interested in? What are they not interested in? What tropes do they like? What they don't like? And so I've seen a lot of these books that get mocked on Twitter far before they end up making it that way. I saw one today, just before it came live on, there's an indie author, romance author. She's mad because TikTok was deleting her videos to do her new book, to help promote her new book. Her new book is about some fantasy satire about a woman that is trying to get a magical abortion. And I'm like, I don't even want to like bring attention to it, because like that's just disgusting. Make it up my head. And I'm just like, oh God, is this one gonna go viral next? It's I have seen The Gray Bastards, and I am interested in looking at it. I hear there's like some special editions coming out soon, and I'm thinking about getting that. There's a lot more orc authors than you think. I'm friends with most of them just because that was my jam. When I joined TikTok I promoted my book out there, and I ended up meeting Destin J. Munden, who that's his thing. He writes a book that stars an orc because he was like me, and I was so happy for this guy. His latest book, which is a little cozy fantasy about an undead half orc chef, got picked up by a small publisher, and he got to go to New York and do a book signing arranged by them. He's got like over 500,000 followers on Instagram. He really blew up, and I'm like, he's such a nice and positive guy. He's not like me at all, right? Not mean in the slight. He's not an asshole like I am. So it's always
we'll
great.
Never have him on the show.
Oh man, he'd do it. He's a great guy to talk to. He's been on my old channel a number of times. But if there's ever anybody that deserved to get main character energy and success, it's Destin. And it's always great to see indie authors that I've been following for years go and end up getting, like a nice, get a little trad pub deal or a small publisher deal, and, kind of blow up. And I am enjoying, the hell out of, watching indies succeed in that way, because it's where, to me, all the true creativity in literature these days is coming to. The romantasy genre notwithstanding, they're kind of over there. I'm not in that genre, but there has been, romantasy stuff that was pretty decent that I ended up reading. This girl got a deal not very recently and got like the third cover. I actually vouch for this book. It's not smutty whatsoever. It's called Hopeless Necromantic. And it's got a new cover now. These two were the other covers. I like this one best, personally. And she got to use her own art on the front cover, which was great. It's always wonderful to see indies blow up like this, because the last, watching stuff that I enjoyed for years, Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, franchises I'd followed since I was a kid and just enjoyed for so long, get absolutely demolished by really bad creative decisions. it was disheartening. And I kind of, at the same time that was happening, I was getting involved in indie fantasy and watching, seeing so many great indie authors just pop up. A lot of them succeed. And either they don't, like they come up with great creative stuff that I've been enjoying. So they're my entertainment now, and I appreciate that. If you're an indie author hearing this, thank you. Keep doing what you're doing, because I promise you, I want to read it, even if I can't get to it in a very timely manner.
So, I'd love to have something go viral and sell a lot of books, but the biggest thing I'm afraid of is that I would have a post go viral, and then I'd have to deal with people. So, yeah. So there's that.
You can't be afraid of a little controversy, because that's the biggest way to get attention these days. Not that I go out of my way to try and be controversial. It's just that a lot of the opinions and shower thoughts that I end up putting on Twitter wind up being controversial, because they'll catch the eyes of the wrong people, or sometimes the right people. I put up my last banger was me putting up 4 pictures of different fantasy TV shows and saying that these are all from 4 different shows. And that was like the 3rd time I'd posted that, and it popped off every single time. It was amazing. It was like an easy button. I've been poking fun at the pop culture failures for quite some time. Don't try to be controversial. I am controversial. I mean, a little bit. I promise you, I'm not trying to be. But
people will respond to that kind of stuff anyway, though. I mean,
yeah.
If you pick any band and say, okay, I want to rank this band's albums, you can start a whole big flame war between people who are all fans of that band amongst each other, because they won't all necessarily agree on what the best and especially the worst albums are.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Look at EL asking like pertinent questions. That's why we like him in the chat.
What the hell's the matter with you?
Gotta love EL. The latest book I did not have when I started writing the Black Crown. I did not have the clear set plan that I have right now, which is I am not writing a direct sequel to the Black Crown. I came up with something that makes sense in my head, and I'm going to try and institute this to a lot of the books that I write, which is I'm going to try and come up with a catchy name for it if I can. But what I call it off the top of my head is a 3-pillar 7-book arc. And the way it works is I want to have 3 books that are starter books into a series, and then do 3 direct sequels to those books. And then the 7th book is a crossover between those books. And in these 3-pillar books, these 3 starter books, same world, same time, different locations, different cast of characters. Most importantly, different appeals for different kinds of readers. So, and writing these starter books so that they are complete and total adventures, so that when someone reads it and they get done and they're like, if they decide they don't want to go on with the series, they can go ahead and exit out at that point, and people that do want to go on can go forward with it. And I'm using this with the Age of Adventures books. The Black Crown was one book. The next book I'm writing is The Lionheart, which is a little different in terms of its appeal. The Black Crown was a classic epic fantasy, epic quest fantasy adventure. The Lionheart is a superhero in a fantasy story. That's what it is. It's a superhero book, but it's set in a fantasy world. And then the 3rd book after that will be a swashbuckling vigilante kind of a book. And then I will not start working on the sequels to those books until those 3 are out the way. Background audio. It is not, unfortunately. I need to come up with the funds for it. That's the only thing holding back. I've got an audiobook narrator, Son of Sonnet.
I was going to tell you. He just did Proxima Station for me. He's great, and love his price. Yep.
Yeah, he was very good to me. He offered it to me backstage. He's like, I want to do this, and he read some of the prologue for me. I'm like, I'm not a huge audiobook listener. I can listen to them. Sometimes they catch me, sometimes they don't. It's not natural to me. I have to kind of force myself to listen to audiobooks. I've been trying to listen to the audiobook for An Ocean of Others for the last 2 months to catch up for the sequel and try to remember some of the stuff that happened in it. And I go in there piecemeal every now and then. But I need some, I know he's a decent audiobook narrator. I know I can't do it. I'm self-aware enough to know that I am not a good enough book reader or narrator to try and go at it myself. And so I'll hire somebody who's got a good voice for it. Although when I do hopefully get another channel back, I did want to do like author narrations of my books. Just something I have to kind of leave to my kids, because I read my books to my kids. And that's going to be a big thing with my books going from here on out. When I wrote The Black Crown, I initially, kind of went for like a PG-13 rating, because that's generally what I enjoy. And in the time since then, right, we've gotten so many media articles about men don't read as much, boys don't read as much, kids don't read as much. And I'm sitting here thinking, what are we writing out there for them to read, right? And then I looked at my books and thought, in reading it to my daughter, I had to self-censor some stuff. And I'm thinking, I don't want to do this with my next book. So I'm going to do a second edition of my book that takes out like the vulgarity. Not that it was loaded with it, but it had enough of it in there to make me question. Because I had some reviews, people who told me in DMs, I really loved your book. I'd love to hand this to my kid, but I can't because of the vulgarity. And I'm like, you know what? I'll fix that. And books going forward, I won't have that issue. So that somebody who says, I love your books, I want to hand it to my kids, you can. Just make sure they, if they've watched a Marvel movie, they'll be fine.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I always ask people. They say, is it okay for kids? And I say, have they ever seen Deadpool? And if the answer is yes, then there's going to be no issue with this, for goodness sakes.
So for my Proxima Station, which I'm not going to show on the camera, bro, because I'm tired.
Come on now.
But I decided first, I was like, it's going to be cozy. And I was like, okay, so no cussing, no violence, no sex. And I wrote that, but a couple people like, oh, I'll read this to my kid. And it starts out with somebody in their PhD defense. Like, yeah, how do you explain that to your 9-year-old of what a PhD defense is? I'm like, so it's just a lighthearted, and it ended up not really being cozy because I just can't do that for any length of time. There has to be some sort of bodily damage to someone. I've learned this about myself as an author, but
it's always a work in progress. It's great. I just realized I didn't actually answer his question much. I talked about the structure of my book releases. I wanted to have the Lionheart done this year, and through a lot of excuses I've given before, it's inexcusable how long I've been writing this book, especially considering it's still only about 85,000 words long. I ended up hitting a bunch of...
that's perfect. Publish now.
No. I gotta write the actual end to it. I'm almost done writing it, but I hit some chapters I didn't plan for, and I'm not going to let that happen again. I'm going to plan these books out much more thoroughly from now on, because it's stalled the book longer than it needs to. I wanted to release, and then I realized I could probably finish, before the end of the year, but releasing it in December when Christmas time, probably not a great idea. So my soft release date will be hopefully early March. And that's going to give me time to get it edited, get the map for it made, get a bunch of infrastructure stuff that I have not spent the time developing in play, mainly my website and the ability to buy from me directly. So your answer is look forward to March next year. I hate to push it back like that, but it's just the way it fell. And I hate to do that. I have been trying to get better at writing every day. And
John, I will just caution you, because when I start writing, it's like, if I just map this all out, it'll be easy to write, because I'll have, and then my characters are like, no, I'd never do that. And so then I end up throwing large portions. So it's always a struggle with me. How much do I need to know before I start writing? But I don't want to waste too much time, because my characters will inevitably make decisions like, I didn't see that coming. I mean, in one of my books, there's a proposal, and 4 pages before I got to that, I had no idea that was going to happen. And I was just like, yeah, this totally makes sense in the moment. And that
was a big issue early on in the book. I have this part where, because this is a superhero character, the Lionheart, he has a no kill policy, but it makes sense why he has this when you read it. And so he needs information to go to the next plot point. They don't want to give it unless he kills somebody. And I'm sitting there thinking, how do I resolve this? This is a moral conundrum. How do I solve it? I know, giant monster attack. What is that? That's an old literature rule. I think it was I forgot who wrote it, but they said, when in doubt, have someone walk into the room with a gun. And the fantasy version of that is giant monster suddenly attacks, and it wound up being one of the best chapters in the book. So I'm sitting there. I got stalled by stuff like that, right? Like this chapter is very important, and it winds up being a really good chapter that's very much needed in the pace of the story. But I didn't plan out for it, and trying to plot it out in my head, there were times chapters took me weeks to get through. It's just a little inexcusable, and I'm tired of getting stymied by that.
Yeah, I will tell you, because in Desperate Dispatches, I put out it's 4 different novellas, and I was so burnt out on the world. I was just like, I'm done. I'm publishing. I don't care. I was like, 3 of the novellas I really liked. This 4th one, I really just phoned it in, but I don't care. I just want to publish it and be done with it. And 2 people now have been like, this is the best story by far. I'm like, that's the one I phoned in. That I like. I'm like, if I had to delete one, that would. So you never know. The best book I've ever written is Sins and Sorrows. It is the lowest rated book of all of my books. So you just never know.
Mike, you just described what it's like to be my Twitter feed, right? Because I promise you, every single one of my tweets that popped off was the most innocuous, least thought out tweet I've ever constructed. The tweet that led to Orc City, I authored that on the toilet. I was just sitting there thinking, oh, fat man, what a stupid character that was. Typed it out with a picture and ended up leading to my shower thoughts led to the best sales week I ever had. Right. But the ones you think are going to catch some attention get like nothing to it. It's weird.
Yeah.
It sounds like that guy names his characters with the, like DC Comics names their characters. Polka Dot Man and Eraser and,
right.
Calculator Man or whatever the hell. It's like, God, come on.
Yeah, it's not that far off. Kojima will come up with a silly concept for a character and then expect you to take them as serious as a heart attack. I could go on for quite some time, but
what would your superhero name be?
Mine, well, funny story. When I was a teenager, I came up with a superhero name that sounded great to me, and I thought, I'll hold on to this. I may write a story one day where this name will be something, great that I can just drop in there because I'd never heard it before. And I don't know if you guys have ever had your mind swiped by some other creative that ended up getting a bunch of success with the same idea that you came up with but didn't elaborate on. The name I came up with was All Might. And if you're not aware, that is the name of a main character in My Hero Academia, one of the most popular mangas in Japan and America right now. So I'm like, well, I can't use that anymore.
Mine would be the Mole Man.
Yeah,
because it's appropriate.
That exists already too.
Yeah.
Way to keep the level there, Mr. Lucas. Yep, well done.
He will be coming on the show soon, so keep your retorts for that.
I'll bookmark that one. Let me go on here and put notifications on.
We got to make a note to put John Foot Penis's name on the slide, I guess.
I wasn't, but I am now.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh man, it's fun though. I enjoy writing as an indie author. It's been much more creatively fulfilling and emotionally fulfilling than simply being just a consumer of it for so long. But the great thing, even though there's a lot of stuff that in the mainstream that's kind of tanking these days, there's always stuff that you didn't catch beforehand you can always go back to. I was on Chad's stream yesterday and we were talking about the new Stargate SG-1 show that's been announced.
Oh.
And I'm like, And I'm sitting here going, wow, I missed 10 seasons of Stargate. I didn't really give it a chance at the time. Shoot, I'll just go back and watch it. Now I'm looking down, staring down the barrel of 10 seasons of a show that I probably would have loved if I'd watched it back then, and go back and catch it now. And who knows, it might be my new favorite thing of all time.
So, John, just
so nice. The seasons are only like 6 episodes, and the season's over. So.
These days,
John, just so you know, December 2nd at 8 p.m. is when Lucas will be on our show.
Duly noted. I hope I'm not working. You guys have a tendency to go live when I'm usually out and about doing something else. So if you don't see me in the chat, it's usually because I'm like running errands. Thanks to the
You're
wife.
doing something constructive with your life.
Yeah,
we hate that.
I don't know about all that. Like, how much constructive can you get going to Walmart for the 1,000th time?
Oh, it depends if you get a good picture from the people of Walmart or not. On your
right, there you go. How constructive can you get doing this for 1,000 times? Yeah.
But John, we want to introduce you to a little controversy. So we have a new question that we want to ask you.
All right.
So it's not the T-Rex Griffin anymore because too many people disappointed me, and I just cried and cried. So anyway,
we have a new question where people are disappointing him.
Yeah, well, I don't like people for a reason, many reasons actually. But so the question is, Gro, go ahead. It was your question. You get to ask.
In Tolkien's work, does the character Tom Bombadil add to or detract from the story?
Oh, this old gem. I think he definitely adds to the world in that there's an element of him that is unexplainable, and I do like that in a story. But from a narrative flow perspective, he breaks the narrative flow so hard.
Does he remember? I mean, they were just walking. That's all they were doing.
Yeah. I mean,
they were eating.
House.
They were eating and looking at trees a lot.
He was a tourist. He was a tourist trap.
They got some beer. They got some ponies. They got an escort to the edge of the woods,
as one does.
So, what is the tourist trap down your ways, John? Because I'm just thinking like south of the border, or Rock City and Ruby Falls.
Usually, it's the alligator farms. We got alligator farms down here, and they're cool to look at. But I mean, if you live here, like you see enough alligators on your own that it's not that special of a thing. And if you've never seen alligators, they look really cool. When if you're watching Swamp People, those are all my people, by the way. And they kind of agitate the hell out of them just to get them to thrash a little bit before they shoot them. Most of the time, believe it or not, you pull them gators up, and the gators don't really fight them all at all. So, but it would be boring to just pull up a lazy gator and pop them in the head. And once you look again, most of the time gators are just lying there sunbathing. They don't really.
Right.
I mean, we've got exploding meth labs in my particular parish. That's a pretty egregious thing. Hey, Christopher. It is possible. Interesting.
Not just meth labs, but exploding meth labs.
Well, yeah,
it's more exciting that way.
When you have drug addicted high school dropouts trying to end up becoming chemistry majors on their own without being instructed by other much more experienced crackhead high school dropouts, the wires tend to get crossed in the wrong ways. What 3 books would I want with me? That's a pretty good one. Probably Jurassic Park, Dune, and my own book. It's because I like to read my own book. Because I always feel like I miss something when I read those. Jurassic Park's special to me because it was one of the first full-size adult novels I ever read. I read it when I was 12 because I wanted to be ready when the movie came out. And that was a hell of a book to take on at 12 years old.
Yes. So EL has a question for you. If you were to fight your own character, who would win?
I think it depends on what character I'd fight. Most of the Denny, the pacifist elf, I could probably whoop his ass pretty good because he won't fight back. I could probably push around Rags a little bit before he realized he was half orc and stronger than me. I'd probably get my ass whooped really hard by Court, and Mora would, just break me in half because Listen, I talked about alligators earlier. Probably my favorite scene in the book to write was when Mora takes on a pack of bandits and uses an alligator as a melee weapon. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm not beating her at anything. Hey, Bat Sauce, good to see you, sir.
And Mike Vadney's in the house as well.
Yeah. Bat Sauce was one of my favorite interviews of all time. And I wasn't even part of the interview team. I was just watching it.
He's a great dude. He read The Black Crown. I appreciated that. I've got his book somewhere too. I don't know where. It's somewhere over here.
So, and I just can't take Cena seriously when she says something like this.
Oh, is that who that is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cena. Good to say. I didn't know who that was. I'm sorry. Who is Tom Bomb? What did she say? Who is Tom Bombadil?
Yeah, who is Tom Bombadil?
Did I ruin the future to be my future of being on this show with that question?
Oh yeah. But wasn't he in the last season of Rings of Power? And like, what a nothing burger that turned out to be.
I didn't watch the last season of Rings of Power.
I have to watch this last season because the narrator of my Pertani books, he's an elf in one episode. So I'm assuming he gets killed. So I have to go see if I can pick him out getting killed. But I'm like happy for narrating. I don't want to pay a lot, so
community service after that.
I don't think anyone's getting big off Rings of Power, except not even Amazon's getting big off of it. Like they're definitely losing the money they invested putting into that show. Oh God, what an absolute cluster hump that whole thing is. No, I wouldn't put it that way. No. I think Michael Van Dam, I think he's got the right thing. He's a great character, but a bit of a nothing sandwich. I think if he had been in the movies, he would have been a little bit of a distraction, especially the part where he's picking up the ring and looking at it and not using it. Like,
if he'd been in the,
he was in the show, but apparently, like, not as. Oh, right. Yeah, he would have been a Jar Jar Binks level character. It wouldn't have worked in the movies. To listen to a lot of Tolkien purists, like nothing in the movies really worked, but we got. I think we got great movies out of it.
Well, Ro had enough. He left. I did not make him go away. Oh, hey, Ro is re-entering. There you are.
Some dust off my laptop, and poof, things just went away. So.
No. John said something controversial, and that made you leave in a huff.
Yeah.
Because if nothing, we're going to generate controversy
he said something bad about Tom Bombadil and Tolkien.
Well, no, that's not controversial. That's just true.
I mean, I was always willing to believe that, like, in this world, there's a lot of whimsy in Middle Earth. And remember, Tolkien did, write these books to read to his kids. So, previous years, like the editing process in like that particular generation, I don't think is quite where we are with the modern editing. So like that's why a lot of older books they read really well, like a word-to-word thing, but like the pacing can feel a lot more off kilter compared to what we're used to, because we're used to like really tightly edited books that are structured, in a way that really hits the beats right and the character. Like it's a finely crafted product, and they were much more of a indulgence of highly educated folks back in the days. So it's different era, different things. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not going to complain to anyone who thinks Tom needs to be there. To me, the work is much more important than complaining about whether the one character needs to be canon.
We are going to complain about this.
I mean, he was busy.
The Hobbit movies were straight trash.
They're bloated. They're way over bloated.
The Hobbit. It should have been one good movie, like the book, without all without all the ridiculous garbage they added into it.
There's
unnecessary.
I have to go back and find it. There's a link a friend sent to me. Somebody took all three of the Hobbit movies and re-edited them into one really good movie. I haven't seen it yet. But I kept the link saved for one.
I just watched
wanna
the
see it.
cartoon from the 70s.
I was going to
That's good
say,
enough.
is it Rotoscope, the one they did? Is it,
And that is the only animated movie that I would consider watching.
dude,
Is The
you
Hobbit.
got to give Ratatouille a chance.
I stopped with Aladdin, which was good, but I don't have any compulsion to go watch it again.
I will definitely break for you on that though. Those movies were okay, but they're not like I definitely do not consider them the top tier Tolkien content, if you want to put it that way. And you're talking to a guy that loves animation and older anime, because I grew up on cartoons. I didn't watch anything live action until I was close to my middle teens. I just loved cartoons. And I remember seeing those on the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies on Disney Channel. They used to air constantly, and they're okay. God bless Ralph Bakshi, but man, they just didn't do it for me. And when I consider like what I like my fantasy worlds to look like, it ain't that. That's just me, though.
It was really good for its time, though. It was
for its time, yeah. It was definitely an anti-Disney kind of a thing.
But again, if I had to watch that version of The Hobbit or Jackson's 3-movie freaking whatever it was, I will watch the other ones.
You could tell his heart really wasn't into that as much as the first time around, because the studio really wanted The Hobbit to be a compliment to them, but they also wanted it to be a trilogy in the same kind of serious tone that the first 3 movies were. I knew it wasn't going to work like that, and I was right.
3 movies, yeah, it's like, what the hell are they going to put in it? That's too small a book for 3 movies, you know?
Oh, they bloated it with stuff that everybody called out almost immediately. I was mad. The thing that pissed me off the most about the Hobbit movie is the dwarves. A lot of the dwarves didn't look like dwarves. Thorin was just Aragorn light. Don't put this dwarf character in front of me who's got a beard as long as mine. That dude should have had a kingly beard. It should have been like that. It should not have been as short as it was. I did not like that.
His wife could have had a beard as short as yours, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I've said plenty of times on Twitter, if there's one thing we can memory hole about in fantasy, it's the female dwarf beards. I'm okay with. I don't care how much it breaks Tolkien canon. I don't want to look at women with beards. Okay, I don't care how ingrained into the lore of the world it is. Just no, thank you.
Dwarf.
So,
what?
I have a fantasy series that one day I will write, and the main character is a bald female dwarf with a beard and mustache. So I will make sure I send you a picture of that, John.
Nice.
Thank you. I
have the artwork.
Yeah, I'm going to appreciate that.
I have to find it. I don't know where it's at.
All right. Next episode, have that with you. Use it as your background.
Okay. Tell you what, we'll have it when Lucas is here, because we know John will be watching.
Oh man!
Speaking of that, Mike, when is our next show?
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow.
All
right. Yeah. Cool.
At either 7 or 8 o'clock. We currently have it scheduled at 7.
It says 7. And then
I'm waiting for Hans to get back to me though, so it might be 8. We don't know.
Youngblood, Black Friday.
Yep, he is releasing the 3rd book in his trilogy, and I told him that I kind of hate him because he has a finished series now. And he just like, well, that's on you for doing long ass series all the time, Mike. So I really don't like him because he speaks the truth, and I don't like what he says. But anyway,
and Sarah R on Sunday.
Sarah R new, yeah.
Sarah R new on Sunday at 2.
Yes.
Yeah, you might be on your
during football. Yeah, and then Monday. We have another one. So, yeah, we're kind of busy here.
Yeah, I should be around for the Monday one. Okay,
good problem to have, guys.
Well, Cena, you don't have to worry. At the rate I'm writing it, it will never end.
All hail the new George R.R.
I put book 4 out in January of last year when we had you on the show, John, and I've not published a new book in that series since.
Oh, gracious.
So, and
Good on
I
you, man.
haven't even started writing book 5 yet. So it's going to be out end of next year, maybe at the earliest. So yeah. Although I have all the covers, so there's that.
That's a good problem to have, because when I was the cover was the last thing I did for the Black Crown, because I underestimated how long it would take to get done before the release date I had. I'd already pushed it back once from August to November, and I was waiting on it, and it finally came in, and I'm like, okay, I got it on time. And then I was in this big crunch in under a month to get it out there the way I wanted it to. So I've got the cover for the second book ready, and I'm ready and excited. I just got to finish writing the damn thing.
All right. So John's got another book coming out in the spring, and Mike will
Hopefully
have
March.
another book coming out sometime in the next couple of years, maybe.
Well, I'll have a new Proxima coming out in January, and then the Haley 2, and then maybe Proxima 3, and then Protani 5 will be started sometime around June of next year. So
All right.
yeah.
I'm looking forward to Protani 5. Bring in some dragons, man.
No, I'm not a dragon person.
Oh,
That's
man,
yet another one of my controversial takes. That Peter Jackson's complete hack. George R. R. Martin can't write. Abercrombie doesn't know what a plot is. I have several.
You are just full of shit opinions.
It's all true, and that's why it upsets people. I read the first 2 books, and I'm like, nothing has happened. There is no plot here. You cannot ruin it because there is no plot. You cannot spoil it. People just wander around, and then the book ends. I mean, that's it.
I haven't read Abercrombie, so I guess I can't say. I've seen some people definitely sing his praises, but
his characters are amazing. Glocta, absolutely love Glocta, but he doesn't. I mean, he tortures people. He gets involved in politics, and then the story ends. In the next book, he tortures people. He gets involved in politics, and then the story ends. There is no plot, none whatsoever. And I get people all the time saying, "Yes, there is," but they can never articulate what the plot might be. So, I don't know. How do I not blow up with comments on Twitter with things like this?
Because you don't put it on Twitter often enough.
You're right.
I call out your colleagues in the booktube community. You don't get in arguments.
But the problem, Mike's not using hashtags, so it's only.
Hashtags are dead on Twitter. I don't know why people still use them. Yeah, when Elon came out, right, as soon as he got control of the company, he said hashtags are dead. I'm like, okay. And I'm sitting there watching the writing community all put like 5-6 hashtags in one tweet. And I'm like, guys, they don't work no more. What are you doing? If you want to know what kind of works a little bit on Twitter, it's not that hard. Put text. You can put a GIF or a picture. Those are always essential. If it's more than just words, you get a little boost each time. Don't fill your timeline with constant retweets. Maybe just a couple of them per day. Because when someone sees all you're doing is constantly retweeting stuff, they think you're just their feed's going to be full of just retweeted stuff. Like, it makes you kind of look like you don't have any original thoughts of your own. So, like,
kind of like you're an AI author.
Tags still work for search, which is why people still. I didn't use that, but I'm more concerned with, like, what boosts up the algorithmic reach of my tweets. Pay to play now. I mean, a little bit, but to be perfectly honest, like, I haven't really changed the way I've tweeted in the past many, many years that I've been there. So, I do think about those kind of things, like what I should and shouldn't do. But it is, yeah, that does work well. But when controversial opinions go that far, I mean, you can piss. There's entire communities. You could say just an innocuous thing, and you'll get them at your throat. Say something about anime. Say something about comic books, and you'll have people arguing with you, trash talking you all the live long day. It's not that hard. It really isn't to piss people off. It's just.
Would you want to talk to them though?
No. These days, not really. But I mean, sometimes you can get a good. Boost every now and then. I've broken containment and had, like, my memes going and tweets on Facebook and some that traveled over to TikTok. That was one thing about Orc City that was so transcendent, is it broke containment completely. Like, there were people on TikTok, there were people on YouTube talking about what is Orc City, why did this come? Because it kind of became like that 6-7 meme, which it didn't have. It had an innocuous start, but it ended up just people saying Orc City over and over, not even knowing what the origin of it was. I got an article in Forbes magazine about it.
I was going to say, did you buy that magazine and you cut it out? But I don't even know if they print anymore.
Right now, it was the online. It was the online. It was an online.
I'm
article.
getting a call from Mrs. Bushy, so I've got to take care. But John, it was great to have you around. Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure.
I'll have to look into that whole anime thing. I don't know. All right, take care, everybody. Thanks for showing up. We'll see you. I guess.
I need a better title. And I had a friend, Rian Stone, who's a bit of an online personality as well. He was like, the Orc City thing was brilliant, man. You got to retitle your book that. I'm like, but it doesn't make any narrative sense. Like, I know I should, but I really can't. I'm kind of committed to that, and there's no reason for me to the book to be called that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'll leave the pages up, but. And I thought about like getting some other Orc authors together and doing an Orc City anthology, each one of them writing their own Orc characters. It would be cool, but I'm also aware of the realities that a lot of the anthologies don't sell all that well. I was in a Weird West anthology that was published by my friend Ryan Williamson, and I mean, he talked about that it was tormentuous, that what he went through to get all the submissions and edit that together and post it out there. Now, granted, he didn't do a Kickstarter. We didn't do a Kickstarter for it or anything like that. And I am seeing like a lot of people in like the Fanfiatic circles and indie author circles. ZS Diamante's doing one called Honor right now. Like, those might gain a little traction, but in reality, the anthologies only sell so much.
Right.
And I wouldn't be able to afford to pay them for their entries. That's the thing about it. Right. I don't have the funds to do that kind of thing. It makes sense, but I don't have the means at the moment.
When I just had like 1 or 2 books on my table at Comic-Cons, I was like, I want to get into anthologies because then I can have like 4 or 5 books and I only have to write a short story. And for each, and then I know people, I'm like, yeah, but like you said, they don't sell. So why would I want to go to the trouble to be in an anthology to have a book on my table that's not going to sell? So I never was in one. Although I am holding out hope for Proxima Station, the first book. I did put a number of people from the writing community in the book, enough that I had a bingo card made. And for book 3, they're going to go back to Area 51, and I have to populate with all sorts of people who are in the military. So I need all sorts of names.
Oh, you're like, gonna Flanderize them?
Yep. And I'm like, I want to have an anthology where I like, okay, if you were in the book, you get to write a short story about someone's backstory. Pick whoever you want. I don't care. It can be you. It can be someone else.
Yeah, not Flanderize, Tuckerize. That's the
Tuckerize. Yeah,
Tuckerisms. Yeah, I got Tuckerized myself. Ryan Williamson. I mentioned a second ago. Hey, what's up?
Mom doesn't need to pick your jig up.
Okay, I'll be done in a second. I'm Tuckerized in this book right here. Unfortunately, I get killed off screen. I get strangled to death by an evil Marine who gets corrupted by a dark god. There's a lot of guys in the squad in there, so we get turned into red shirts and whatnot. It's fun. This is a good book, by the way. Military fantasy, portal fantasy. This is good stuff.
Can you hold up EL's Instant Appealing Head again?
What? Yeah. All right, there.
So I get Tuckerized in that. In the first scene, Mike Molman is flaying a person, and his mother is like, just don't get blood on the carpet, as she uses her walker to go to her lazy boy.
Oh, my. Yeah. Oh, my.
I am the bad guy. And so be warned, if EL's like, I'm going to put you in a book, you probably aren't going to be like, I want my friends to read this now. So, yeah. And now he told me that I'm going to be his Kenny from South Park, and he's going to kill me in every book he writes now.
Oh, no. Mike died
again. So he knows he has at least one customer for every book. And if you hate me, then they'll buy it too, just to glorify and Mike's another death. So
Mike, I hate to cut this short, but my wife says that my son's off of his school and I need to end up go and pick him up.
fair
man.
enough.
But
Okay,
it's been a great conversation, man. It's great to talk to you guys again.
Yep, good to talk to you, John. We will be back tomorrow, everyone, at 7 to talk to Hans Schantz, the guy who does base book sales. I can't remember his last name, so I just butchered it. But anyway, he'll be tomorrow night. We'll talk about his books. We'll talk about the base book sale. Love to see you all back here. So thanks, John. Time to wave awkwardly.